The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Out now from DC Comics, it's Dead Man Tells the Spooky Tales. Franco of Superman Adventures, Aw Yeah Comics, and Tiny Titans fame presents 15 tales narrated by Deadman himself, Boston Brand, that will shock and delight horror fans of all ages. 15 stories created by Franco and 15 amazing artists, presenting bold art and great storytelling. This is a great present for the fall and holiday seasons to young readers or to share with your children at nighttime story time. The book is out now from DC Comics. It's Dead Man Tells the Spooky Tales. Pick up your copy online or your favorite comic store today.
Oh, yeah, man.
Back, everybody. You like that?
I do. It was groovy.
There you go. Welcome, everybody. It's time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suttress here. Art Baltazar joining us for a good conversation. And Dr. Pill's buddy and Brad Gibson are here.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi, Brad. Oh, hi, Art.
D-Brad's everywhere we are. I like him. Same with this guy, Anthony Michael.
Absolutely, man.
Boy, oh, boy.
I had to make the I Like Pink Facebook page aware that we were talking tonight. So.
Oh, yeah. I shared and liked it and retweeted and all that stuff. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
We should be good.
It. So, Artie, you are very busy right now, and I've noticed that you have decided to start, and we were just talking about it off the air, hand selling your new creator-owned stuff rather than maybe going through a publisher. Tell me why.
I got a lot of what they call it, stokes in the fire, plate spinning, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I have things with publishers. I have things with a book agent. I have things that are going to come out, but I have so many ideas that I needed to get them out here. And I kind of gave myself an 8-year deadline, but that was already like 2 years ago. So, 8 years left. I gave myself a 10-year deadline. So by the time I'm 60, I want to be able to look back on all the stuff I've done instead of trying to keep drawing when I'm 90, But if I could get everything that I want to get done out there now, I think this is an opportunity. And I really like the small publisher, self-publishing feeling of comics. Like when I first started in the 90s, it was like that. Like nobody would hire me. And I kind of always had that feeling. And my next book, me and Franco did a book together for DC that's coming out in 2024. They didn't even announce it yet, so I'm just throwing a date out there. So I have nothing until then, like besides my stuff with paper cuts and stuff. But I had to figure out, how am I going to do this? How do I go indie without spending like $2,000 on printing a book, or without doing a fundraiser? Because I don't want to go the Kickstarter route again, or Indiegogo, because that's a lot more work than I want to do. All I want to do is draw, upload my comic, and wait for it to get delivered to my house. Yeah. So I found a low print printer, and I'm thinking, like, why can't I just print 100 or 200 copies? And now I'm only spending, instead of spending $2,000 a month, I'm only spending about $200 or $300 a month. And so, or did I say $2,000 instead of thousands of dollars? I'm spending just a few hundred, and I've been doing that like since last April. I've been printing. I printed like 6 or 7 books, maybe 8 books, like just little 20-page, 24-page comics, and it's allowing me to just get my books done and out there and on my comic table in Artist Alley and on my website. So, man, it's just, I had to figure out that piece of the puzzle, and I got like 300 or 400 characters in my head that need to get out there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. And every project I'm working on right now are creator-owned projects, are my own characters. And even I'm still with paper cuts, and I was working on Gilbert, which was my own character. And then after Gilbert first 4 books came out, they asked me what I want to do next. And at first I thought maybe they wanted to do like a spinoff. And they said,
Yeah.
no, let's do something brand new. I'm like, whoa, what's this? I like, what can I show them? So I showed them my Crybaby adventures from the 90s when I
Yes.
started out in 92, 93, and they liked it. And I said, well, I'm going to retell it, redraw it, and fix it so it's, or change it and tweak it so it's better than it was. Because when you read that first comic book that you made, like you look at it or you're like, oh man, what was I doing back then? But that was the comic I had to draw to learn how to make comics. So that book is coming out in next summer, 2023 summer. So that's cool. They made a this is the preview. Yogs. It's called
Okay.
Yogs now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got it as
yeah,
well. We can pop it on the screen here.
yeah.
Uh,
That's cool, man. So like,
so yeah.
yeah, New
Oh,
York, they were pushing the Yogs book with paper cuts. It's coming out in August of next year. So man, I
okay.
can't wait. Yeah,
Um Now and here even now my name says hey cool.
yeah, man.
Um Dr. Pill's buddy wants to know maybe to put out these new ideas. Have you ever thought about doing a daily comic strip or even a weekly
I
strip?
have. I might try to do something for Patreon because I have a Patreon that I want to put stuff out there for people. I might do some videos, but I have to get there. Like I'm also working on custom Mego action figures, so I got a lot of different projects happening. But the coolest part about just doing all this is everything I'm working on is my own thing. And so when I wake up, you wake up all hurting in bed. I only slept 4 hours, and then my eyes wake up, and I'm thinking, "Ooh, I get to work on this today. Oh, I get to do that." And I get out of bed, and it's so weird. Like when you work with say you work with a Dark Horse DC, or you have a deadline, not particularly them, but when you have a deadline that you have to get so many pages done a day to keep the deadline,
Yeah.
I always found myself, okay, if I do 3 pages a day, then I could do something else. So I would finish those 3 pages a day and then pick up like Webster the Spider Monkey and do a page of him. Or then the next day I do 3 pages of the deadline and then pick up something that I want to do that my own creation. So I've been doing that anyway all these years, and it kind of started with Comics too, drawing Action Cat and Adventure Book, and at that time we were working on Itty Bitty Hellboy. So I had a when I go lay down, I imagine, oh, I got to draw Itty Bitty Hellboy, but that's already been like 10 years ago. But I have that in the back of my head. It feels like that. Like if I could do 3 pages of Itty Bitty Hellboy and 1 page of Action Cat every day. So but now it's like replace that with I could do 3 pages of Meteor Mite, 2 pages of Yogs, 3 pages of Webster. So it's really nuts and cool and happy. And I don't know, like little Artie and 17-year-old or 18 or 19 in college, I've always wanted to make comic books, but I never would have thought that it would be like this. Like now that I'm an old man, that I'm able to work on my own stuff. It's crazy but cool and awesome. Yeah.
Well, it's full circle because obviously that's how you
Yeah.
started. And it's
Yeah.
interesting again that you're making this choice. You
Yeah.
mentioned Webster, and I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of your when you're solo and you're drawing and people are watching. And I know a lot of people watching and commenting now are big fans of when you come on Facebook and YouTube and the like and
Yeah.
Twitter and do
Mhm.
your own thing. But you mentioned Webster. Let's take a look at the Webster trailer that you
Yeah,
sent.
let's do it. Webster, spider monkey, Webster, spider monkey, Webster, spider monkey now. He's spectacular, he's amazing, he's sensational, he's spectacular, Webster, spider monkey, Webster, coming at you now. You like that?
Oh, I tell you, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
No, I liked it. Oh, I loved it. That was awesome, man.
Yeah,
So yeah,
man.
everybody, Electric Mill Comics. What's the website again?
Yeah, electricmillcomics.com is my store, and artbaltazar.com is if you easier to remember. Or I even own famouscartoonist.com, and it takes you takes you to my artbaltazar.com, which has all of the links and stuff. But I saw famouscartoonist.com was like 12 bucks a year. And I'm like, yeah, and you can link it. And so I bought it. I forgot one of
Oh,
my
good.
fans, one of the fans suggested, hey man, this is available. And I bought it, which was pretty cool. And so I got 3. And the store is electricmillcomics.com. And look at I got Webster right here.
Oh, there you go. Stand by.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's cool. Yeah, and it's funny. Like here he is. He fights Dr. Octoplatypus. And there he is, like there.
sure.
And look, he fights and he gets his powers. I'm gonna show you. Spoiler. Look at he gets his powers from the spider that bit that high school student. You know?
Yes.
It's rhymes with Obie Maguire, but he's but Webster ate the spider that bit that teenager, see, and he found it very tasty. Here it is.
Interesting.
Then he got powers. See, he was started to glow. But he's one of the science animals that are experimental. Here's the back cover. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Anthony says he loves the back covers of each of these new books.
Yeah, man.
So-
And the back cover, if you see all the splatter, that's actually my basement floor. That's my art studio floor. That's what it looks like where I paint.
Yes.
So it's kind of cool. And I spotlight the characters. Here he's upside down. But this is
Like it.
it. Yeah, it's
Like it.
pretty cool. I like it. Man, I'm having a good time, man.
I'm
It's
gonna
cool.
make a banner because Stuart Jerry or Jerry Stewart says,
Oh yeah.
where can I find them, please? So again, it's you go to artbaltazar.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to electricmilkcomics.com.
Yep.
Now famous cartoonist.
Yeah, they'll all lead you there, man. I got
So-
a ton of stuff. And it was funny, like I started I wanted a few friends I have who I know a lot of music guys, a lot of bands, a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's always like I ask them, hey, it'd be cool if you guys write a song, but I always feel weird about that. It's kind of like your friends that say, hey, I need to come paint my wall. I'm like, oh, so I always feel like, oh, I don't want to take advantage. I don't want to ask people for favors. So I just started making my own songs because I used to play guitar in 5th grade. So we have a guitar in the house. I always have guitars, and I just strum and get goofy. And every song I make for my trailers, I do one take. Because I don't even rehearse. I just like get the guitar and just start strumming, and I just press record and just record, see what happens. And I know that if I do a second take, it's not going to be better. So,
That's
I've
awesome.
I've been making songs, and it's cool. I got like 5 or 6 songs now.
Well, we're going to play more of these videos
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well as the afternoon or the evening goes on. Dr. Pillsbuddy says, I feel like if you and Franco did some trading cards, that
Yeah.
would be amazing. You thinking about that?
Yeah, we had a trading card from North Carolina Comic Con, and then Comixology did a card with both of us on it. So
Yeah.
we just ran out. Like I just gave away my last one, and Franco had a little stack, and he gave them away in New York Comic Con, and he even brought it up. He said, "Man, we should make more of these. People dig them." I'm like, "Yeah." So we're gonna do that. I just gotta make them. That's all. I
Yeah.
gotta get a maybe do the front cover where we're a photo and on the back a caricature or something like that.
I
I
understand.
like putting the stats, the batting average and stuff.
Sure. You can tell when I'm about to play an art video for people who are watching rather than listening to this, because all of a sudden the background will go black. There goes the word balloon logo.
Yeah.
This is where I've loaded Artie's videos, and you mentioned merchandise, and let's do one of my favorite characters from the Comics days, and that is the great Abraham Linkage.
Abraham.
Hot night. Hot night. Hot night.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Artie. I had to test to see if I go back to the other thing. So I didn't mean to cut it off short
It's all
there.
right, man.
I
I can sing the
apologize.
rest for you if you want.
Feel
No,
free.
no.
Acapella with your hat on.
All I say now is Abraham Linkage. But
I
those are
like-
fun, man. Those are so cool.
And I didn't understand. I saw you at C2E2, and you got Abraham Linkage fly swatters, and I'm like,
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. That's like,
What does
yeah.
that have to do? But I understand now. You tell everybody
Yeah,
why you got the fly swatter.
it's like owning Luke Skywalker's lightsaber as a comic accessory. You know, hey, I want to own Han Solo's gun or Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. So that's why I
Does
made these fly smackers because that's what Abraham Linkage uses.
does
And
does
yeah,
he do it because he's at a bar? Like because when you're at a barbecue, you need to swat away the flies that
no,
are around
he
the grill. Why does he have a fly swatter?
Abraham Linkage is a hot link. He's also a cryptozoic monster hunter. So if you have like a Sasquatch in your garden, you yell hot link and he'll show up and smack him. He'll get him out of there. Or he slaps a Loch Ness monster out of the lake. Get out. So he slaps beasts. He gets rid. He'll slap a ghost if your house is haunted. He'll come home and get rid of it. So that's what he does with the smacker. He doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt or injure him. It doesn't feel good though. It's like stings you.
I
Just
understand.
getting smacked with a smacker. Yeah, that's what he does. It's his weapon of choice.
All right, stand by. Let's see here. I'm trying to see different things. Oh yeah, Alejandro Rosado, everybody.
There he is. Oh yes, outside. Alejandro Rosado.
Yes, so that's good to see, and of course, Gigantic Jeff joining us. Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, oh yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that.
there he is. The
um,
gigantic one himself.
okay, I don't know, and we'll see what Stuart Jerry says, but I guess
Yeah.
he recognizes your voice. Of course, Artie's been on before, a word balloon,
Yeah.
but also IFLC. If what is that? What I don't know. I'm an old
Ilfka.
man.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
if
Another
or
podcast.
maybe that's a different podcast or another podcast. Such a distinct voice. I know I've heard it before.
Oh
Are
yeah.
you being silly, Jerry? Is that
It's
your podcast that you're mentioning?
it's sweet and velvety, my voice.
I don't know. I was trying to help you out, Jared, but if it's an inside joke, I'm not bright, so
Yeah.
you'll forgive me. But again, Brad says, yeah, you got to listen and watch the podcast when we do it. I always like to say we time it like the Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah.
So we're near harvest season. We were going to try and do something obviously around Halloween, but like Franco's going to Baltimore.
Yeah.
You and Scoot were in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And Scoot was at another show last week. Who knows?
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yeah, and you were in even right, Elgin, or what?
Yeah, I was at the Elgin Library. They do a Comic Mania, and it's a lot of local Chicago guys, like Jeff Moy and Gene Ha and a bunch of guys there.
That's what honestly, that was so great to discover because when I was a kid, First Comics was still happening in Evanston.
Oh yeah.
So I was aware of First Comics and the bigger creators that were at First and everything. But then you discover, oh, Jill Thompson grew up here. That's cool.
Yeah.
And Alex Ross, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
that wave of creators. And then just as I was starting to get into Word Balloon, I mean, you obviously since the early 90s, but I, in the early 2000s and everything, Devil's Due,
Yeah.
had Seeley and Norton and
Mm-hmm.
Patty Young and all these people and Chris Crank. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just like, oh, this is great, man.
Yeah.
There's this new wave of creators, and I'm glad everybody's still working and doing well.
Yeah, there's a lot of Chicago people, and it's
Gino, of course,
it's awesome how you can make an awesome show just with Chicago people.
Oh yeah,
and those kids walking through, it was pretty cool. We did really good.
So another, and here on the left, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Baltazar, Bazaar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's the deal with this book?
That's my my sketchbook, like my sketchbook. I got it here. It's my sketchbook comic, and it's all like stuff from my sketchbooks, just are my art book. It's all sketches and art books and paintings and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. And there's a picture of my studio floor again. But
nice.
Yeah, it's just an art book sketchbook. I always wanted to do one. We did one years ago called Shig Pit. So me and Franco did a combo one. But I always wanted to do one because I see a lot of art sketchbooks, but I wanted to add like texture pages and stuff.
Nice.
These are actually from my sketchbook, like scans from them. But I added the notebook paper backgrounds and stuff. And once again, you get my artist floor with me on the back. But it started because I was making these little card prints of these paintings and stuff.
Yeah.
And most paintings I do are square. They're like
Okay.
2 by 2 foot by 2 foot paintings, and then I reduce them and sell like a 5 by 5 like little print cards. I don't know if I
Yeah.
have one here. Yeah, I got one here. Like
Yeah.
I sell these little cards on my site. These little painting cards like this.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah, these are cool. I made
These
like
are great.
yeah, I made like 5 sets of these. This is from my Marvel set, and on the back you see all of the paintings that are in this set.
Like
So
it?
I have these too, and I have many paintings that wouldn't fit this, proportions.
Sure.
So I had it all started like, man, it's like, man, I want people to see my Godzilla piece. And this was real long. See, it's a longer painting.
That's a great
So
piece.
so that's where this came about. I wanted to feature all of the paintings that I couldn't fit in a square like this, like the Hulks and stuff. So I started putting it together, and this is really cool, man. And like I really dig making these low print run comics because I could try to get them out there. And I'm trying to starting January, I'm trying to do monthly or about monthly or oh, hopefully 8 to 10 times a year. That's what we're
Yes.
trying for right now. And I still have like I've been teasing this big announcement for a while, and I still have all of something set up, but I can't tell anyone yet. There's always like secrets in the comic book industry that like I know ever since I've been working in comic book industry, especially with DC Comics and Warner Brothers, Disney, all this stuff, that you can't talk about what you're doing. And I'm kind of like that now, but all the stuff I'm doing is my own stuff, and I'm trying to do like a monthly comic. I think I'm going to be able to, but I got this thing set up with sponsors and charities and people, but I can't say anything that's involved yet because um, the ink's not dry, as they say. Whatever. We got to sign some more things. We got to get some things going, but we're getting closer, man. We wanted to announce this big deal in New York, but maybe in November, December, we'll be able to talk freely and answer questions. But so that's a big part of what I'm doing now, and I got so much. Like I wanted to, I really want to do a monthly comic, just print my own stuff, just every month have something new. And what was I gonna say? With this deal and making my own stuff, I think I could do it. Man, it's about to tell you something, but it
Well,
lost
while
my
you
head.
think of it, it's all right, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. So we mentioned and see pages of Bizarre Baltazar Bizarre.
yeah.
Here's the trailer for the book.
One.
Bizarre, Baltazar, bizarre. Bizarre, Baltazar, bizarre. Bizarre, Baltazar, bizarre. This comic book where you are.
Yeah. You like that one?
Yes. Is that Sonny?
No, that's actually Joe Crone from
Oh, that's
he
great for the
runs the
start.
comic shop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the cookie shop. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's his brother Adam doing the beatboxing. So and then it's me doing the B. So we
very
just
frightening, Artie.
I don't know how it just happened. And
If we didn't know you, we'd be sending you to a rehab program.
yeah, I know.
Because clearly you've got issues and not the kind in Mylar
Yeah,
bags, as I always like to say.
and
So
just
that's outstanding.
and
That's
once
great.
again, that was one take. We said, let's do it. Let's record a song for this, and we did it. And I think Adam just started beatboxing.
Yep. Okay,
So
here
it was fun.
Anthony Michaels has a legitimate question.
Yeah, man.
For Yogs, are there ideas that you had when you first started the Cray Babies that are first being used now in the new book?
Yeah, man. Yes, I'm adding a lot of things to it. I'm trying to like the first Crybaby book was like when I drew it and wrote it, it was kind of like stream of consciousness, and people all said that too. Man, this reads like you were just making it up as you went, and it was true. And the story kind of developed by issue 3, and I made 10 issues of it,
Yeah.
and so by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it was really tight. The story was a lot tighter, and the character had a purpose, and he was searching for happiness and all this stuff. But the first 3 issues are just so random and crazy. But I kept a little bit of that in this, but I mostly the cool part about like mostly I kept the story, but it's being told to us as if it already happened. So the character, it's called the Krenobi Tales because Krenobi he's old now. He's like, yeah, it's him when he's young, but he's older, telling about the stories that he've already went through, and that's kind of like for original Crybaby readers, they're going to read this and say, "Oh, yeah, I remember reading that. I remember this." But I do it as a way where Krenobi's old telling. It's like when dads and grandpas, like, I know I tell my kids stories about when they were babies and they get embarrassed, like, "Dad, we already heard that before." And so Krenobi does that, and he's got a son named Kreisky, and he talks about how he first found Kreisky and how they had to fight Crazilla and the giant green gorilla and how they found the mystic orb. So I have all this magic and introductions in the first issue, but it's all flashback, but it ends. The first book ends in his current timeline. So, and it leads to issue 2 and issue 3 and 4. So, or book 4, and it's not even issues or books. So, but I'm trying to do the book where it begins, middle, ends in each book because I never like I hate if a book gets canceled and I can't finish the story. But they already told me I'm getting 4, and they the boss over there has told me he'd like to talk about more stuff after this. I'm like, yes, and I'm just still on page like 50 of this first book. I got it up here where their characters are fighting, but the so a lot of the stories, I I made an outline and I spread out the stories and I added them to like okay, this has to happen, this has to happen, this, and I moved stuff around and changed a few of the characters and made different characters do different things so I could fit like Krenobi's stories, the first book, and then a second book's a guy, his name's just Cray. He's the second story, but then Krenobi comes back in the third issue, and then the fourth issue is Krenobi and a whole bunch of new guys. So it's really cool, and I'm really looking forward to this. And even when I was telling the publisher I was in New York, I almost started crying. It was just weird. Like that I told him that this is very important. This Crybaby story. I kept calling it Crybabies and they were confused. But I told him that characters, I got rid of the baby part. So the characters are just called Craze because the part, like when I first created it, the baby part was like, you know, when you go, yeah, baby. Remember Johnny B on the radio?
Of course.
He was like, he used to say that all the time. What do you say? Yeah, baby.
Yeah, like Austin Powers. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So that was a
Yeah.
big thing back then in the 90s.
Sure.
So I would say it like, "Cray, baby," you know, and it was just like, "What's up, baby? What's happening, baby?" It's like Elvis. So,
Right.
but
I know,
everyone,
man.
yeah,
I
how you
know,
doing,
baby.
baby? What's up, baby? And I'd
TC,
call my
TCB,
friends,
baby.
babe. Yeah, I would call my friends, babe. What's up, babe? And it was just my guy friend. You're like, what? I'm like, but that's what how we talk, the vernacular, if you will. And so, but what people when they read it, they didn't even read it as cray. They would say crazy babies or they would say cry babies. I'm like, no,
Right.
that's a problem. So I got rid of the word baby. And I was trying to figure out what to call this book, but they fight in the land of Yags. They go to the land of Yags to fight and save the Yagis because the Yagis are creatures that they're like flowers almost. They're just leafy looking guys with petals for hair and they're just pink and green. And so they're they're defenseless, they're helpless. So the Krenobi and his buddies Wizard, they try to save Yags, and he's known as the Wizard of Yags. So that's kind of cool. So that's like I kind of restructured all these stories to fit, and it's really cool. And I kept telling them that it has to be 4 books, man, minimum of 4, because I got these. I want to complete my story, and they're like, yeah, cool. But I told them like when I first heard about this, like was going to happen when I pitched it to Paper Cuts. It was about 2 years ago, and like I showed it to him in New York Comic Con a few years ago, and then I didn't hear nothing. So then 8 months later or so, there he is. What's up, Sal? Northside.
Sal.
So then I heard from them. They like, hey, we like that. We like that story you sent us, and we want to we need a cover for your new book coming out next spring or fall, whatever. And I'm like, okay. I'm reading this email, and I remember being at the kitchen table, and the kids were home. Gordy was home. Audrey was playing piano, and then I said, "Hey, come here. Read this out loud. Tell me what this says." And I think Sonny or Gordy read it, And he told me what it was. I'm like, so he said, Dad, they want your new book. I'm like, yeah, but what is the new book? He said, Yogs. Did you show him Yogs, the Crybabies? I'm like, yeah. And he went, oh, you're getting a new book. I'm like, yes. So I got up. We all started dancing in the living room. Audrey was playing piano. And we are just like, oh, cool. And then all of a sudden it hit me. And I went back at the kitchen table and put my head down and started crying. And then everyone's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. And then Audrey came by and hugged me and says, Dad, I don't know what any of this means, but this seems very important to you. I'm like, yeah. And I told him that it was my very first book that I tried to do. And everyone would say, oh, Johnny, don't cry. But
I'm coughing. I don't want to. I don't want to
okay.
cough out loud and interrupt you. Keep
But
going.
but everyone, like, this is the book that, like, when I graduated college, I took the portfolio. Everyone heard the story before where I took my portfolio and signed up for portfolio reviews, and everyone told me I suck, I can't draw, I need to learn anatomy. And that's when Bob Harris, he was editing Marvel X-Men at the time, and then he said that he asked to look at my sketchbook, and when he looked at it, he that's when he said, "Why are you trying to draw like McFarlane and Jim Lee and all these guys? Why don't you just make your own book? You're a cartoonist. Just make your own." And so that was what I created, the Crybaby Adventures. And they were actually based off of artwork, like art supplies, like Craypa, and the gouache monsters are gouache paint. And the Crays would drive around in tanks that look like ink bottles that would shoot ink at these guys. So that was the whole gist of my original story. But then it just got real crazy, out of control. But but it's cool. Yeah, Holly knows. Oh yeah, Columbia.
There you go. Your school.
So
Absolutely.
it's kind of like full circle, man. It's just really strange. It's really weird and strange that, like, I never thought when I was 23 years old that um, nobody would care about these comics, because I always was told that they suck, that I can't write.
Well,
So, but
you
like,
know,
no, yeah,
well, mentioning Columbia, I
yeah,
wonder already, and especially now that you are doing lower runs and stuff, and you want to hand sell.
yeah,
We have that great indie comic show, Cake,
yeah,
and
hmm,
it's I know it's been at Columbia in the past and stuff like that. I
yeah,
don't know what the status is of Cake. I mean, and obviously you go to your libraries.
yeah.
I'm sure you had some of these books there. And well, were you selling books at the library, or were you just teaching art and drawing for the kids? And
Oh, this weekend,
oh,
last
yeah,
weekend,
yeah.
it was a con. We were selling books.
Oh,
But
okay,
I bring a whole bunch of old, like, Tiny Titan ones and
sure,
Patch the Wolf Boy. So I was
yes,
selling them real cheap, because library shows, people aren't ready to spend money. So they're looking for cheaper comics or free stuff. So
yeah,
I was selling a lot of my older books for like $2, and
sure,
just to and just to sell them, and at least try to
yeah,
get $5. Like, if you get three, here's $5 for three of them, and they buy them. But
sure,
there was a couple of dads which were really cool. They would count all the books. I had exactly 20 different issues, and a few dads like, we do one of each for $20. I'm like, yeah, take them. And so it was pretty cool. I had a few sales like that, I because they had a lot of kids, and so I'm able to give away a lot of the older ones because I don't have the money tied into them anymore and all that stuff. But
okay,
but the new ones, like the low print runs, I gotta sell them now for five
right,
dollars. They're all $5, and just from my website, my or appearances or stuff like that, and they're doing pretty good. And like, when they like if I print 100 and they sell out, I just print more. You know, and
sure, of
I,
course.
I don't think people care if it's first printing, second printing. Like, nobody cares. Like, I don't think they do. Well, I just don't tell them. They
Well,
look
and
the same.
also, but
Yeah,
regardless, the fact that you are hand selling and stuff, no, I
yeah.
think this is a good experiment. You certainly do a lot of shows. Do you think you're going to increase your shows beyond local shows? Do you think you're going to be going to more other shows as well to hand sell and kind of
Yeah,
try to make more money?
yeah, eventually, that's kind of what the plan was. I talked to Rose, my wife, and I told her what the plan, the long term is. Well, like, when I'm 60 years old, I want to just drive everywhere, go to all the shows, and sell the books that I printed. And like, because I think I could probably do this before. I think I could do this in 5 years. What I want to do, because I wrote down a schedule for myself,
Yeah.
and I wrote 64 books in 64 months in a row. That's how many books that I wrote that I
Wow.
probably can do, because I have like 20 of the books are Patch the Wolf Boy books, And
Sure.
then, so I'm reprinting a lot of old stuff and I'm making them in color. So Wolf Boy's coming back too. I just don't know what month he's coming back, but it's come definitely 2023. I already colored the first 3 books. They were in black and white, so I colored them all. And
I saw you doing it on your Facebook show.
oh, did you?
That
Oh
was one of
yeah,
the episodes that I was watching, and you were coloring a Patrick book.
yeah,
Absolutely, man.
yeah. I like to tease, and I was and it's funny because I color a lot of Gilbert stuff. I was drawing Gilbert, and I was always thought that the publisher would get mad, like, "Hey, that's secret," but they don't really care when it's your own. When it's your own stuff, there's not so much secret because it's been announced already, you know. So I'll probably color some Yog stuff, but I don't like, to me. I don't want to reveal Yog's storylines because every
Sure.
every page is a little segment. There's little chapters, but so the goal is here, like, print as many books as I can in the next few years, and then if I run out, I reprint them, and then I just fly all over the country and sell everything. And then when I run out of them, I reprint them. So I want to be able to make a backlog of books that I can just keep reprinting. And if I want to make a new book, I can. But right now, I have enough energy to really hunker. I'm hunkering down, Johnny. I want to hunker down and just go full steam ahead, especially
Yeah.
now. I don't have to go anywhere till March, till C2E2, the end of March. So I'm home and I'm slipping into vampire mode right now. I'm all around the clock right now. Like,
Artie,
you
I
know,
know, and I
yeah,
believe me, you and I, it's like 3 in the morning. Bong. All right, I'm up. All
yeah,
right,
I'm up.
let me do some work.
Yeah,
Oh, here, well, I'll do the vampire. Oh,
yeah,
I'm out of my coffin now.
yeah.
Absolutely. Man.
And you forget what day of the week it is.
Oh
And,
God, yes,
you
God,
know,
yes. Middle of the week, it's like
yeah, it's like a
I think
Friday.
it's Wednesday. No, it might be Thursday. No, it's
Yeah.
Wednesday. All right.
You know what the weirdest part is? Like, out of all that, you forget what the time of day feels like. Like, normal people, daytime
Yes.
people, they get hungry. Oh, it must be 5 o'clock. It must be dinner time. I'm starving. It must be 6 o'clock. But when we're hungry, it's like 11 in the morning. And like, oh, time for dinner. It's like, oh man, you know. And
I
like,
so hear you, Artie.
I woke up today at 1:30 in the afternoon, and it still feels like I didn't eat dinner yet. I had lunch earlier, but it doesn't feel like it's nighttime yet for me. I
I
still
so
like
hear you. I know
I
it.
just
God, man,
finished coffee 2 hours
we're
ago, you know?
we're a week and a half from turning the clocks back, and it's
Oh
going
my
to be
god.
it's going to be dark at 5 o'clock, and only going to
Yeah.
get darker for the next 7 weeks or whatever. So yeah, believe me, I know, buddy. Oof.
Do you
How-
think
Go ahead.
do you think prisoners get mad when they turn the clock back?
I don't know
Like,
because
"Hey."
they lose. Yeah, wait a minute, that's another hour that I spent. Oh man, well they get it back in the spring.
Yeah,
So I
they're
guess they're
happy
all
in
right.
the next few more
Yeah,
months.
they're all right. You were just in New York, and
Yeah.
you made a fantastic video chronicling your trip in New York.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at that for a moment.
Let's do it. Let's go to the tape.
1, 2, 3, 4. Bop, bop, ba da da, bop, bop, ba da. That's right. I'm in New York City. Going to New York Comic Con. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah! Start spreading the news. I'm at New York Comic Con. Let's do this kind of town. High five to
What am I
Kinda
thinking,
says it all.
Johnny?
Absolutely.
You
I
like
like
the
all
look.
the I like all the cameos, man.
Oh yeah,
You got Brother Bear from the
yeah,
New York
yeah,
store. You got
hmm
Jim Lee. You got
yeah,
Jim Chadwick.
yep,
Great to see guys.
hmm
You had, of course, a lot of Franco in there as well.
hmm
Our buddy Svengoolie. You were on
he
the
was there.
Svengoolie family. You're
Yeah,
doing. Hey, man, and I want
yeah,
to tease this because I haven't had a chance to talk to Franco about it because we talked last month and I saw the announcement. And
yeah.
of course, we saw a friend. All right, Dan DeDeo. How you
How you
doing?
doing? How you
I'm
doing, man?
the publisher of Frank Miller Presents.
I don't know
And we're
what it
very
is.
excited. Not only are we doing Frank Miller stuff, but I love Svengoolie, and we're going to do a Svengoolie comic. And
Mhm.
here are a couple of the guys that are going to be making the comic: Chris Jones and Art
Mhm.
Franco. How you doing? All
Yeah,
right, great.
because the Monday before New York, I get a text from Dan DiDio, and he says, "Hey, uh, are you going to New York Comic Con?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then he goes, "You a fan of Svengoolie?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Good. I need a Chicago guy on my panel. You want to draw a Svengoolie comic?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, show up, show up at the panel on whatever day." And then I'm like, "Thanks." And he will see you then. I'm like, wow, I just got a job drawing Svengoolie. And so I didn't know when it was or where it was. So Dan came to us on that morning and he said "Hey, you know where the panel is?" Like, "No." And he goes, "Oh, here it is." And he wrote it down and he gave it to me. Or his wife Leilani wrote it down. "Here you go." She wrote it down. Then he looked at Frank and went, "You want to come too?" I mean, he's like, "Sure." And he goes, "Just tell him you're from Chicago." And he goes, "Well, I know Svengoolie's on in New York." And he goes,
Coast to
"Okay,
coast.
you'll."
Come on.
And then he goes, "Okay, you'll be fine then. Come on." so, so
That's awesome.
yeah, it was pretty cool. And I've been sending him sketches now and then, and wasn't sure what what we're gonna do yet. And he told me they're talking to Me TV about the format and everything, and I don't know if it's gonna be if he's writing the stories and I'm just drawing them, or I'm writing stories, or me and Franco writing stories. I don't know what's happening yet. But on the panel, he said to bring all my spooky books, anything with a monster in it, so we could like pitch him on the panel, and it'll be a nice little bit. And so we talked a little bit, and I mentioned we should do a Svengoolie Junior, and that got them all like, "Hey, what do you think?" So I thought it was kind of funny. And but at the end of the panel, I gave him books and I said, "Here's a sample of what I draw." And he goes, "Oh, that's cool. Oh, this is great." And then he handed it to Roach. Was it
Yeah,
Jim?
Jim. Yeah,
Jim
Jim
Roach,
is
right?
his producer. No, I know
Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
great
told him
guy.
I dropped the Yoko chips on him. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
nice.
name
Thank
drop.
you.
Yeah. I'm friends with John Suntress. And he goes, "I know John. Yeah." And the other
They're
guy
great
was
guys.
there too. There was another guy who's famous from the radio. I forgot what his name,
I don't
but
know.
but I heard it and I knew it. Like, where is this guy? And he was there.
Was he
And
a Chicago guy or a New York
yeah,
guy?
Chicago radio guy.
Oh, crazy. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
He's
Well,
also a
dude,
producer on MeTV. Yeah.
okay. Well, oh, you know who it probably was? Bill Leff.
Yeah, that guy. That was him.
Bill
Yeah.
is doing the Tune with Me morning cartoon show that
Yeah.
runs on MeTV. And yeah, he's a it's funny. I really want to get Bill on Word Balloon because I love his morning cartoon show.
Yeah.
And I love, of course, we love Sven. And God, Rich and Jim have
Yeah.
been so kind because they're pretty much, hey, when we're at C2E2, you're doing our panel. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's
thank
great.
you. And I prepare and I have, the way to introduce him. And I always have like crazy lines. I always say, he's the man who outran The Walking Dead, stuff like that. Or
Yeah.
I said his attorneys represented the Brides of Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman.
That's cool.
Stupid stuff like that. And he puts up the eyebrow and everything. No, he's
Yeah.
the man. And
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I want to talk to him about these Frank Miller comics. I know like Chris Jones and you and
Yeah.
Franco are like among the first artists that have been contacted about it.
Yeah.
But this month is like Santa Claus in December.
Yeah.
Halloween is Sven's month.
Yeah. He
So
was
I
just
know
in
how
Elgin.
crazy busy
Yeah.
he is. And but he's coming on in a couple of weeks, so we'll talk about what you guys are going to do. I'm very, very excited.
Yeah. It's cool, man. And going to this panel, like, I really appreciate Sven more because we were backstage, behind the curtain, and he we were sitting there, and he was sitting in a chair, like almost meditating. He was like Qui-Gon Jinn before he started fighting Darth Maul.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
and I saw him, and
Getting
I
in the
started talking
zone.
to him. Yeah, and I asked him a few things, like, "How you doing, Sven?" And he just looked at me, and and he reminded me of that. There's a video with Freddie Mercury behind stage before he went on concert, and he was in the zone. Then he shook and ran out, and Sven was cool until he was real calm until they announced his name, and then when he went out there, man, he exploded. It lit up. Like, wow, that guy, man, he was holding back his
energy.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, and I really love, and I'm sure New York was no exception, but he fills the convention rooms here in Chicago. All the live appearances he does at stores and for charity and stuff like that. He is a rock star, and I'm so happy for him because, in fact, I kind of bring it up sometimes on the panel. Like, he had a low point in the 90s when like he was still under contract to our local Fox station, but they didn't want to do the Svengoolie show anymore. So he's doing Weekend Weather.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And it's like, okay,
as Rich Coase, right?
As Rich Coase, yeah.
I remember something like that.
It wasn't Svengoolie. Yeah. All right, now there's going to be a storm front coming through.
Yeah.
Ooh, scatty kids.
But he was doing the U
that was
show.
Later.
He was just doing it as Rich Coase. I remember doing that, seeing that.
Yeah, and and also he had the Coase Zone, but that was when the Fox management then still liked him and saw the value for him as a kid host and an afternoon host and doing the monster movies. But no, like at the end of his contract, he was just doing Weekend Weather because, it's like, all right, well, we're not going to pay you to do nothing. So that's what he was doing. Yeah. Thank God Neil Saban and the people behind MeTV and the local stations here saw the value of what he's doing, because him, Elvira, Joe Bob Briggs, I don't know how many of these hosts are left. Yeah. And that's a dying tradition. And I'm really glad that he's still doing it, likes doing it and stuff. And he's just a rare breed. I mean, that, like I said, it's a dying art. And it's really important that not only that he does it, but now that it's coast to coast, the amount of love he gets, I just love seeing that. And it's like, again, it's like, in broadcasting, you have peaks and valleys, and Rich is enjoying another peak. So
I have a feeling though that there's going to be that he's looking for another guy, like the replacement. I don't have any intel, but I just have a feeling.
Well, I think he's made it public that at the very least he's looking for right now sidekicks. And maybe that's the ultimate plan, is to hand what they're doing to these sidekicks as they grow into the show and get, kind of that the fans get comfortable. But I mean, I just like talking to, say, like a guy like Paul Kupperberg from DC that knows the history of DC. Mm-hmm. Like, I love talking old movies and TV with Rich, local and old reruns and all that stuff. Cause he's, Bill's like that too. Lef is like that. So no, it's, again, there, I heard this from Frank Santopadre, and he paid me an incredible compliment. And there's like a circle of like nerd, not that I'm a celebrity, but nerd celebrities that love old movies and can name check, not only Lon Chaney Jr., but the old lady that plays the gypsy in the Wolfman movie, the old Wolfman movie, stuff like that, these great names. And amongst the group, and they even have like a email group. I'm not in that, but they call themselves the Travelers. And those are the old time pop culture guys that kind of know this stuff. Mark Hamill is part of this group. There's a lot of celebrities that are in there. And, and it was very nice when I had Frank on, Frank Santopadre, Gilbert Gottfried's co-host, who's a big monster kid, and Gilbert was a big one. Exactly. Mm-hmm. I heard that back in the day. Mike Gilbert. Like Frank's like, well, John, it's nice to see you're a fellow traveler. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. I'm like, I like I said, I'm not on the email group, but I'm like, that means a lot that you recognize that, again, all these names that, if you're under 40, you have no idea who I'm talking about. But that's why I love talking to Rich. Like the guy who played they made a couple, like 4 or 5 Stooge shorts after Shemp died, where they added new scenes. And this guy, Joe Pereira, was fake. We, like all the Stooge fans, we call him Fake Shemp. And you can watch on YouTube just some of his scenes. And he always had his back to the camera, but he had a wig like Shemp Howard's hair. And he would kind of eep, but it wouldn't sound like Shemp. Beep, 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 Yeah, it was,
whatever.
but it wasn't as good as Chef did it. And
Mhm.
it's sad, but again, that's like kind of the BS that Columbia Pictures like put the
Yeah.
studios through. Yeah, we know your older brother died, but here remake these movies and we're gonna have a stand-in. It's like, oh my god, you know a Superman story like that? I don't know
Mm.
if you know this story.
Was it
Jack
George
Larson.
Reeves?
Yes, it involves the original series. And this is something that our dear late friend Marty Pasco told me, and I had no
Hmm.
idea until Marty told me this. And
Hmm.
it's on one of the old word balloons, but I'll bring it up because we're talking Superman for a second. Um,
Bum-ba-dum-bum-ba-dum.
after Reeves died, Jimmy was such a popular character. As you know, the
Mhm.
comic book for Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane were because of the TV show.
Yeah. Mhm.
And Jimmy was still so popular, they went to Jack Larson and said, "We're going to retool the show and call it Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to be the lead character, and we're going to use old footage of George flying, breaking through, whatever,
Mhm.
and we'll write around that." And Jack Larson is like, "You guys are a bunch of ghouls.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I would do that because they would have to sign him to a new deal and stuff." And it never happened. And thank God it didn't. What
Yeah.
a scumbag kind of move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I heard that somewhere. I think it was on a Superman thing, and they also tried the Super Pup. Like,
yes. And you
and that
can see that.
was
Yeah.
people with big heads on.
Yeah. And they use the
Mhm.
old sets and everything. Now
Yeah.
that I have less of a problem with.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
They don't have
They
to
had
pay.
real little people,
Yeah. They don't
uh,
have to pay an actor. Just get any guy. Anyone could
well,
do it. Yeah.
yeah, you're right because they probably dubbed in the voices,
Yeah.
and it probably wasn't the little people that were acting out the scenes.
Yeah.
And then also there's the Adventures of Superboy
Yeah.
that then you can find
Oh,
that
that's right.
on
There's a lot of
YouTube as well.
auditions. Yeah. See all these,
Yep.
and one guy was the guy's dentist or something, and he's because he looked like Superman, so they had
Oh,
the dentist. Yeah.
I thought that was the Ed Wood thing with Bela Lugosi.
Oh
That the
no, it was
dentist ended
Superboy.
up
I
was
remember
it
the
Superboy?
seeing the yeah. It was somewhere I was watching it. I see
Well,
a lot of
there's
Superman stuff.
here's a great cover of your fine
Yeah.
comic that you did with
That was the
Franco.
yeah, it's the cover to the pitch. And that was cool, man. I loved working on that series. I we mapped it out for 50 issues because originally they asked, "What do you want to do with it?" And I said, "I want to do it like Tiny Titans. Let's go 50 issues." And they said, "Okay, let's see what happens." And unfortunately, it ended after 12, but
Yeah.
but it kind of continued into Superpowers for another 6 issues. But Superpowers, I had to squeeze it all, put as much stuff in there as possible because I knew that they wouldn't want another one. And I actually pitched another book, Superpowers Trinity, was another pitch we did, and they loved it. And it was with, um, yeah, I don't know if I'll say, yeah, I'll just say what the heck. It involves Brainiac, like because I like the story so much, I want to reuse it. But the story was in the end of Superpowers, Brainiac takes the form of Lara, Superman's mom,
Yes.
and in the Trinity, female Brainiac was going to be the villain, but she also creates a Brainiac version of Thomas Wayne and a Brainiac version of Hippolyta, and they all attack the Trinity, Bruce and Superman and Wonder Woman. I call them Bruce, but they all attack them all, and that was the whole thing. And Dan and Bob Harris loved it. They're like, "This is really cool, but it might have too much continuity for now." And then I pitched another thing called "I'm Batman," an all-age Batman book. And then they said, "Well, they wanted to do Batman." They said, "We really like this one, but go and talk to the editor next door. They got new plans to do all age, young reader books or whatever they were. They called them your YA novels. That's what they're called."
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that's when Superman of Smallville appeared because we sat down in Bobby Chase's office and she told us about what we want to do, and they said, "What do you guys want?" And right away I said, "I want Superman." And she said, "Oh, good. No one asked for Superman. Everybody wants Batman." I was like, "No, give me Superman." And that's when she said, "Okay." And I'm like, "That was it? You said yes right away?" And she told me, "You know more about him than we do." And I'm like, "Whoa." She goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "All
Finally.
right." Yeah.
Finally.
And that's what she said. "You know
Because
more
yeah.
about Superman than we do." And I'm
You
like,
know,
"Cool." Yeah.
by the way, and I was telling Franco this too. one of our word balloon and oh yeah fans, Bagor Johnson. I'm sure I'm saying your name wrong. I apologize, buddy. But he suggested because Gabe Hardman was just like gushing about Superman, and of course, he did he did storyboards for that Bryan Singer Superman Returns movie, and he's the one who gave Bryan Singer the idea of why don't you have because like Brian's like, I need Superman to do something really cool after being away for so long that gets everybody excited. And he's like, why don't you have him save kind of a passenger space shuttle like in John Byrne's Man of Steel thing.
Yeah.
And so like Gabe mapped out the whole sequence, and it's one of the best things, as you know, in Superman Returns. And I love it when the shuttle lands in the ballpark and he's on the Jumbotron and everybody's going nuts.
Yeah, they all see
that's
him.
Amazing. So Badcore is like, hey, you should go on Word Balloon sometime with Art and just talk about Superman and what you love. And I'm like, that would be so great.
Good.
So yeah, so then maybe during December when things are calmer and like Gabe's always working on a movie or TV storyboard or whatever. So that's funny. Kevin Wolf says that would be a great title. Give me Superman. Yes.
Give me Superman. Yeah. And we had 4 issues. I outlined 4 issues of that. And in Superman of Smallville. And the second issue was going to be another Krypton ship lands, and it was going to be Brainiac in there. And he was going to get found by Lex Luthor instead of the Kents. Or he was zeroing in on Superman because he could sense the Kryptonian blood in the other ship. They were reading each other because in the Superman of Smallville, the ship would activate, and it activate when Krypto touched it with his nose.
Right.
And I think I always say the ship never talked to him before, but I can't remember if it talked to him in the Smallville show. But in the second book, the ship was going to talk to him again and tell him there's another ship coming. And he's like, what? That can't be. And it's not. It's a robot in there. It's not a living thing. So eventually Brainiac was going to be adopted by the Kents in the second one, and Superman was going to have to take him to school and put a wig on him and stuff. It was going to be funny. So he was going to have a green cousin. And so I thought that would be cool. And then we had the Army was going to come to investigate, and we were going to see the Army led by General Lane. So you're going to see a young Lois, and it was
nice.
Yeah, it was real cool. And Lois' adventure would be partly in book 2, but mostly book 3. And then we had Lori Lemaris was going to be in it. She was going to be the.
I miss Lori Lemaris.
Yeah.
God only knows when her last. I don't really know when her last appearance was in the comics. Maybe somebody in the chat does. But yeah,
I don't
go
even
on.
know. But she was going to be the swim team coach, or she was going to be the leader of the swim team. And the way Clark figures out, they find out about each other is because someone knocks his glasses off and they fall into the pool. And then he jumps in to get the glasses, but he's under there too long. And then she panics and goes to save him. But then she discovers he's breathing underwater. And then he sees her fins. And then they get out. And she tells him that let's wait till they leave. To the class, the bell rang and they ought to leave. So they came out of the water after the bell rang. And that's how they knew each other were
I don't remember if it was Bronze Age or Silver Age, but there was a beautiful panel. Whoops, Artie popped out. Hopefully he'll come back, but I'll tell everybody, and we'll even play some Artie video while Artie comes back. Artie comes back. It sounds like Sir Mix-a-Lot, but here he comes in a minute. But that great panel when both Lori Lemaris and Clark are underwater and I guess it's Superman and they're kissing, and it's like, oh, that's beautiful, man. So we'll have Artie back in a second while Artie is hopefully negotiating his connections. Right now I don't see him, so let me play another great Artie video, and this is the Crone Zone Tom song. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure Artie will explain when he comes back.
Tom the cat, 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 Tom, be Tom, be Tom, be Tom, be Tom, 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 Tom. Thank you very much.
Like it a lot. I don't know if we don't have video. Are you on audio?
Everyone can see. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh man, yeah, my screen kept freezing.
I know. I noticed.
Yeah.
I just figured we'd just keep talking for the audio
Yeah.
people. Well, I just played the Tom video,
Oh, cool.
so I'm glad that Thomas Edison made the cut.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah, he
So,
was in. Yeah, I tried to think as many many times as possible, and I
Tom
was running.
Segura, Tom
I'm running
Wopat
at the end.
from Dukes of Hazzard. Chris Conley says Baby Brainiac clipped your feed.
Yeah, you got involved, man. Because
Yeah.
on Krypton is my idea for Krypton or Brainiac is like Wi-Fi on Earth, where the Wi-Fi on Krypton is called Brainiac, and he's everywhere. You need
Yeah.
Brainiac to just turn on your stereo or your TV or your phone, and that's what Wi-Fi is. Now imagine Wi-Fi did that, so
Oh yeah.
invaded our brains and our bloodstream.
That's
So
yeah,
that's kind of what I was thinking.
that's a great sci-fi trope. I mean, of course, back in the day,
Yeah.
Skynet with Terminator, but they've done it on Doctor Who and other things. Have you?
Oh, cool.
You know, we were talking off the air about HBO Max. I literally just saw it today, the trailer for season 4 of Titans, and I was wondering if you saw it because Lex Luthor, the Titans go to Metropolis, and Lex Luthor is the big bad in this episode. But it's
Oh, yeah.
interesting. Lex is going to magic and the occult and supernatural stuff. At least that's what it looks like from the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
And also, he's got a real big beard.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah. I didn't, because I saw it, you know, like when the videos start playing before you click, and I was like, who's that guy? I thought he was going to be like a dark magician or something. But then I saw it was Lex.
Yeah,
But
it's
that's
like,
cool. Like we never had Lex with a beard yet. Or
and
maybe
also,
that
go
little
ahead.
guy was the 2.5 Men guy.
Oh, John Cryer, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, and also in the comics, when Lex had the kryptonite ring, and it caused the old body to die.
Well, yeah.
And he cloned the new body and pretended to be Lex's son, but it was really Lex in a cloned body.
Yeah.
Not only did he have a beard, but he had really long dreadlock kind of red hair and everything. I loved when that happened. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was cool.
Liked it.
I like all that. He was fabulous Lex with the beautiful mane.
Indeed. No, Brad, not Lex Christ, but I appreciate the reference to Lex. We're always happy to hear about Lex Christ here on the show.
Yeah, we like Lex Christ.
We like Lex Christ a lot.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You know, Artie, I want to call back some other great comics that you've done over the years. And of course, the team up here of Batman and Archie.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. And you see
Junkins
got his Captain Hero cape on and everything.
That's right. I remember drawing that, and the one note I got from DC Comics people was, don't make Batman look weird. That's what they told me. I'm like, he'll look like him, don't worry. And
that's Adam West. Yeah, that's Adam West Batman. Give me a break.
He's got to look like Adam West.
So did they think that image was weird?
No, but we want you to draw. They said, don't make him look weird. And I'm like, he's not gonna look weird. He's awesome.
I've never thought you drawing Batman looked weird. So I appreciate
and that was strange. I'm like, what do you think I'm gonna do? I can't remember who the editor was who told me that, but it wasn't my regular person. Yeah.
Yes. Well, Artie, again, it's nice to hear Bobby Harris say, you know Superman better than any of us. Because I do know, and
Bobby Chase told me that. Yeah.
Bobby. Yeah. And I'm glad, because I know, and you're not the only person, but sometimes, an editor is like, well, you know what you ought to do? And it's like, no, you know what you ought to do?
Right.
Your job, and let me as the creator do my job.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that, everybody. I'm not saying Artie's saying that. I'm saying that.
No, I know. I've been, we've been listening to Superman and reading stories since we're like 6. Like, I think I know him pretty well. I know what he's supposed to do. I know what hurts him. I know what his strengths are. I know it's not just kryptonite that hurts the guy. Like he's just like a regular person. Like, everything that hurts us hurts him, and like, and when you think about like people we go through day to day, we don't get in fights. We don't have things bother us. We'd have things bother us, but the normal things would bother him too, because he thinks like us. Like
Yeah.
somebody's a jerk, he'd be mad at that too. He's like, man, that guy's a jerk. That Brad, I just want to tear him apart, you know? So like he's the same as us. And that's what people forget. He's
Yes.
too strong. Like, no, he's not. He's strong, yes. He could do things because he can do things, not because it's a struggle or because it's a burden. He just does it. And he's real different than Spider-Man or Batman because they're superheroes because of guilt and vengeance and all this stuff, but Superman is a superhero because he can do things and it's not a problem for him. And
And
so yeah.
he's vulnerable because he is a person. And I mean,
Yeah.
they forget the man part of Superman.
Yeah.
And Rucka always said this great thing when he was writing Superman, and that was, sure, the bullets bounce off him, but you can hurt his heart.
Yeah.
And you could bum him out. Or
Yeah.
that great, my favorite scene at the end of Kingdom Come, and it was in the trade, and it wasn't in the I don't believe it was in the original volumes, but when they're eating at Planet Krypton, and you know, Clark says to Bruce, "How's Luther?" And he goes, "Oh, I caught him hacking the computer in the Batcave." And he says hello, by the way. And Clark's all anxious, like, "Really?" And Bruce is like, "No, he still hates you, dumbass." And that's such a great, like, again, because Superman, it's like, oh man, maybe we're friends again. No, he still hates you, man.
No, he
Sorry.
still hates you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to break it to you, man. So
That's
yeah,
funny.
can I call back one of my favorite one shots that you guys did, and
Yeah.
that's the Battlestar Galactica
Oh
one?
yeah.
Dude, I first of all, it's cheese. Although there are, I would say, 4 or 5, including the pilot episodes of the original series. They only made 17 of them, so that's not bad out of 17 episodes of the original Galactica.
Galactica.
But I loved what you guys did with the original, Starbuck. And although you made Starbuck a girl, right?
No, that's a boy. He has long
Oh, okay.
hair.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it is Apollo and Starbuck from
Yeah.
the original series. But yeah,
Mhm.
man, no, I love that book. It was hilarious. And
Oh man, thanks.
and also in general, and back to Superman,
Yeah.
even though these are all ages books, you're not writing down to your
No.
audience. Yeah, and
No.
really, I know, and this is what I love about both of you guys. That I mean, Tiny Titans is a shit ton of fun, and I'm a
Yeah.
big fan, and always have been.
Oh
But
yeah.
when it came to Superman and stuff, you guys are writing a real Superman story.
Yeah.
It's in your art style, and again, just like Bob Harris told you back in the day, don't change your art style.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a 12-issue epic story, and there's
Yeah.
fun in the story, but there's serious stuff in the story as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
And Mark Miller did the same thing when he was writing Superman adventures that were from a visual standpoint based on the cartoon from the 90s. And I've talked to Mark about this before, and he's like, I'm writing Superman. And
Yeah.
I know that, I'll keep it all ages, but I'm writing exciting Superman stories
Yeah.
because I'm taking full advantage of this opportunity, as well you should.
Yeah. And I love that we brought back Lara from Krypton. She never died.
Yep.
And no one's ever done that before.
Yep.
And I thought that was a great opportunity. And then in Superpowers, or no, I think it was in Superman Family, we brought back Jor-El. He was able to come back for 24 hours at a time, but then he had to go back to being a hologram. So he wasn't the real Jor-El, but it was still his consciousness in a 24-hour body. And uh, in Superpowers, we learned that Lara was pregnant. Wow! Oh, there I am. Like we found out in Superpowers that Lara was pregnant while she was in the Phantom Zone. Like before she got zapped, she was pregnant, and so the baby never grew because the baby's also like a ghost, like the suspended animation kind of thing. So when she was freed from the Phantom Zone and Brainiac was gonna try to kill her, he recognized another heartbeat and he didn't kill her because in Brainiac's mind, he is the son of Jor-El too, because Jor-El created the Brainiac tech.
Understood. Yep.
So
Yep.
Superman realized that in Superman Family and said that, well, then we share the same father, so we're brothers. And he goes, "You're not my brother." And then when he was going to kill Lara, he let her go because he felt the heartbeat in there. And so in Superpowers, we realized she had the baby, and the baby was altered in the Phantom Zone. And because the Phantom Zone was built with Brainiac tech, so now the baby was born green with the symbol on its head. And so I remember everyone saying that was the most controversial panel I've ever made. They're like, so Brainiac's the father? I go, no, Jor-El's the father, but the baby's DNA was altered in the Phantom Zone. And so now the baby, of course, had accelerated growth and became the new Superman. And we named them Prime L, with Prime with a Y, Prime L. So it was a baby Brainiac, yeah. And so Chris Connolly, oh yeah, man. And so in the story, the baby Brainiac grew up and he started fighting Superman. So it was Superman versus Superman, but Prime L was mean. And then we teased the Superman from the future, and in the beginning of the series,
yeah, the bandage face Superman.
Yeah, he looks like a mummy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So later on, he came to help Superman fight Prime L Superman, and he revealed he took the bandages off, and he saw it was Prime L in the future. And so
that's cool.
Yeah, he took him to the future to help him be the proper Superman he's supposed to be.
That's like a reverse Kang with Iron Lad.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I love that.
My intentions was to hopefully this Prime L is a new Superman character that would make it into the Superman mythos, and hopefully it would be written about in the regular Superman title. But I eventually wanted to bring him back again in that Trinity book where he would fight Brainiac, who's the evil Brainiac. So he was going to come back. Like if they ever let me do Superman again, all these stories are ready, man. I can't wait. I got to bring him back and do this. So I'm just waiting. But I don't think DC is going to ask me to do it again because I don't know anyone there. So I don't.
Oh, you haven't connected with Marie or some of the new?
I know a few people, but everyone I worked with before is gone. But I don't want to wait for. I guess I could pitch maybe, but I want to do the proper Superman, like Superman Family and Superpowers. Like that was the real Superman. And well, we'll see. We'll see what the future brings. You never know, because I worked on all those Super Pet books. I did a ton, man. Like 50 books, or either 48 or 50 or 52, something like that. Like books of super pets, and they were so successful. They said, "Hey, let's make a movie." So I'm like, "Yeah."
I would, if you don't mind, Artie, I want to show the trailer for the books.
Yeah,
books,
man.
Are they still in print with Capstone?
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, and they're making new ones, and I think they might have a Random House, the new publisher. I think is making some. So Super Pets books are still going. But I finished my last batch last October. About a year ago, I finished my last batch.
Well, yeah, and listen, the new movie got a lot of buzz, and absolutely, that's great. But I just want to point out, because you will be able to tell from this video, when Art did this stuff years before, this movie was in development.
2011. That's when they came out. Wow, man. Yeah, they were cool.
How many? How many? Because there are a lot of animal sidekicks
Yeah,
that came out of the Silver Age, and I'm glad you used those and everything. How many new characters did you create?
I lost count, but I know I redesigned and redrew 320, 325 characters. And they gave me a list. And it was guys like Dead Man was on there, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle.
What kind of
Yeah.
animal did Dead Man have?
He had a floating ghost dog. He'd almost look like the dog from Nightmare Before Christmas. I kind of based it off that, but he looked a little different. I forgot what their names are, but I created a whole bunch of bad guy pets and a whole because bad guys, none of the bad guys had pets. Like Lex Luthor had one and a few
Yeah.
people, but I created a whole bunch. That's where mostly I created was bad guy pets, and I created good guy pets too. But
Yeah.
whenever I would turn in, like I'd create them, they said we need a pet for Swamp Thing. Like, okay, I make this, or we need a pet for
What was Swamp
for
Thing's-
Terra for Swamp Thing had like 4 different pets because the writer added some in the story, and they were like Big Mama was one of like fat cat who stunk, and then it was like
Sure.
a possum guy. But like I forget what their names were because I would do designs and suggest a name, but they would always pick a different name. I guess so I wouldn't own it, it wouldn't be mine. So we code collab. So I get it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so I don't remember the names they chose, but they made that encyclopedia that had all
Yes.
the characters in it. And it was so much fun, man. And the weird part about it is like that everyone knows that I'm pretty fast. I sketch fast. I draw a lot.
Yeah.
Like I can do multiple pages a day or whatever. So they gave me this crazy deadline. Like, here's 300 characters. Can we have them like next month? Like what? Like holy cow! Like all right, not that's when I had like okay, I got to
All right.
design. I got to do 10 a day. Like I got to, but I got to draw these things every day. And so I was drawing all kinds of stuff. I
I
made
remember that, man.
remember the Wonder Twins were in there, and everyone had a pet, like the mammoth from the Teen Titans. I remember he had a mammoth pet. It was an actual mammoth, and I just was sit there and draw all. My sketchbooks and sketches are full of these things, and it was so cool. But that's my strong point as a cartoonist. I think my character designs was what I could do like effortlessly. I just do it. I just sit and draw.
I'm
Like
gonna zoom in
great
again on
characters.
you just so we
Yeah.
can see the backgrounds that you've got right there.
Oh yeah, man.
I mean,
This
that
painting
speaks
I
for
just did.
itself.
Yeah.
Look at that. And by the way, I
Yeah.
love that Cyborg's right by the Sox win.
Yeah, he sucks when yeah. And then
And
there's
I love that Harold's
Yeah, Harold's is in
Harold's
there
is
with,
on
with the
there.
Flash. This is my friend right here. That's Ashok. He's a writer for the Daily Herald, and now he does food reviews for some Chicago magazine or something. So this is for him. His little baby boy was born in February, and they asked me, "Can I have it by February?" I'm like, "Man, I don't. I'm trying. We're trying." So I finally got it done. We're gonna meet up at a Harold's probably and do the switch, do the passing of the torch. But he hired me to do this, and it just took a while to do it because um there's a lot. There's a lot to this painting. Like I did a little
Yeah.
video of the painting too. Like there's a lot of layering and uh, 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 I paint the background is there's like the background first the sky then the background and then the characters and he picked all the characters he wanted on here so I thought it was real cool and
Yeah.
I paint all the time. I try to paint on weekends but sometimes like the weekends aren't mine so like I never know who was like daddy here's what we have to do like oh we have to go here you have to drive me here or we're going
Oh
on
yeah, they're all
vacation so
activity age.
yeah
Absolutely.
so Friday night is usually my free for all Friday if I don't have a deadline or I always have deadlines, but Friday, Saturday, no one asks for to see the stuff, but everyone wants stuff on Monday. So Sundays is when I get to get back to work usually because
Oh,
Monday morning, man, people want stuff. So
yeah.
Saturdays are the one day I could goof off Friday night and Saturday usually. And so I like to do the paintings. And if I don't have to go anywhere, man, that's so cool. Like if I look on the calendar and we got like 18 people live here or 5 people, but we all put seems like a lot. Like I got all these people in my house all the time. They're always no one goes anywhere. Like they're here. It's like we're living here forever. Like all right. So no, I'm just joking. But I look at the calendar and the squares on Saturday, if they're filled up, like we got 5 people, you can absolutely have 5 events happening. So I always write mine on there with a permanent marker, so you can't erase. Um, so when I see a square that has nothing written, I get so excited. Like, oh, cool! I can paint that day. I can just stay home, and then I put my baseball on or whatever, or just put videos or music blasted in my basement here, and you can see I make my beverages, put music on, and just have a time. I have a time painting, and anyone who comes over says, "Oh, Dad's downstairs painting." So, but I get so much done. I started 2 paintings this weekend, and I have 2 more commissions to work. I've been doing a lot of commissions through these trying times, and
Sure.
I did really well with commissions and paintings, but I'm
Good.
finally catching up. Like I only have like 3 or 4 drawings to do. 2 of them are paintings, um, and so I'm looking forward to finishing these. And this was the big one that I wanted to finish because I hate that when people have to wait to get their stuff. And most of the people are cool because I know who they are, and but I don't want to take advantage of that either. But I try to get stuff out, and I still got to mail posters from my Patreon. I'm like a year behind, so I'm like, man, it just takes a little bit to do things. But that's why I love this time between now and March. I could really hunker sideways, hunker up. I'm hunkering down all the way, man. And I just love being able to do this. And it's just a weird time, but awesome time. I just do just like what you wake up every day and you could record all day in your apartment. And my kids were asking about you today. I told them I got an interview today. It's like, who's it with? I said Yoko Chips. Like, yeah, but he's your friend. Like, how can it be an interview with your friend? I said, oh, we're going to talk comics. And like, okay. And then they started asking, what does he do? Like, he
What
just
does
talks
he
all day.
do?
He talks all day. He makes videos all day from the morning to night. You can find him. He's
It's
live
true.
somewhere.
It's
And
true.
they're like, oh, we get it. And you're going to be on his show. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Oh,
So,
that's nice.
so it's like I admire too what you do. Like I'm just gonna do it. You just stay home and do it all the time, because it came out to like my daughter was eating lunch with her, and well, it's dinner for her, lunch for me, but she said so if you had your own apartment, would your whole apartment look like an art studio? And I said yeah, because I wouldn't need a kitchen table. I would need a coffee pot, but I'd probably put an art table in the kitchen, and I'd have the big TV. But I'd probably have. And so she asked me about your apartment. I said the whole thing is his recording studio. He has
I'm in my
TVs,
living room.
computer.
I
Yeah.
am in my living room. I've
Uh
got
huh.
it's so funny. My sister is like, take this table. I'm like, I don't need it. I've got a
Yeah.
coffee table. She's like, take this table. So I did, and it has wheels on it, and it is the perfect height to put my
hmm
laptop on and broadcast from.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, she must have in an ESP sort of way just kind of know I'm gonna need this table. And it's great. It's perfect for what we do.
Yeah.
So
Things
yeah.
with wheels are awesome. I
Yeah. Well,
love tables with wheels.
and the height, and really the
hmm
height. I really have to finish cleaning. Right now, the camera is pointed where it's kind of clean,
Yeah.
and but I got to swing it back, and also I need to get a good chair from like Office Max so I could show some of the art again that I have on my walls.
Oh yeah.
And I've got amazing. I've got a great Tiny Titans that Artie did for me
That's
years
right.
ago. So yeah, man, I'm telling you. So that's funny. Ed says inspiration for an Art Yoko collaboration graphic novel. What do people do all day over by there?
Yeah. Over by there, by the thing.
It's Chicago,
Yeah.
exactly.
What are you doing?
Good
33rd
idea.
Street.
I like it,
By the
Ed.
thing.
Like it
So
a lot.
I can't find parking.
Oh, I
I'm
hear
not
you.
going over there. Roadside
Exactly.
traffic. Yeah.
Forget about it. I hear you, man.
And every time someone arrives anywhere I live or the store, everyone, the first thing they say, wow, this is far. Like, oh, come on.
Shut up. Well,
Everybody's
as you
far.
know,
Yeah.
my good buddy Chucky is a stone's throw away from you.
Yeah, he's
And
close.
and
Yeah.
and again, I know how busy you are on the weekends when I'm seeing him and stuff. But no, man, we got to find time for a fight or something like that. I mean,
Gotta.
it's great when you come out to Skokie and we watch the fights over there at Village Inn.
Yeah. Village
We're big
Inn.
fans
Yeah,
of
man.
that. Of course, Gigantic Jeff joins us for that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, man, no, it's hey, before the end of the year, Tyson Fury's going to have a fight, and
Wow.
And
Yeah, I forgot he's fighting Joshua, right?
no, it didn't happen.
No?
No, he's fighting Chisora again, who he's fought
Oh,
already 2 times, and everyone's like,
nah.
ah, okay.
Why? Yeah, he
Well, he
just
wants to stay active. He
yeah,
wanted
I
to get
get
2
it.
fights in. He really wants to fight Joshua and Usyk.
Yeah,
Usyk,
Usyk, yeah.
well, and after those 2 fought each other for the second time, Joshua's like, well, it's too early to get back in December. And Usyk won, but he got dinged up. I mean, Joshua obviously landed
Yeah.
punches and stuff.
He was in a
And
fight.
he
Yeah.
needs exactly. He needs time to heal.
Yeah.
So, well, hopefully in 2020, the lousy one here, a little boxing talk to wrap up the show. We were this close to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence finally fighting each other.
Really? They
The
didn't do it?
welterweight. No, Crawford didn't like the money they were offering. He
Jeez.
wanted to see the Premier Boxing books and see how much money the promotion would make. And they're like, no, you either accept our fee or walk away. He's like, well, then I'm walking away. I don't need this.
Man, yeah.
So,
That's like
but
fighting fans want that, man.
oh, 100%. And it really seemed like after we had to wait so long for Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather
Yeah.
that the promoters and the fighters kind of get, hey, don't let these fights get stale. Oscar De La Hoya will always be, unfortunately, remembered for saying, oh, we want this fight to marinate. And it's like, yeah,
No.
you want it to marinate. You don't want it to get stale, and you don't want 2 old guys. All right, we're fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the worry. So
The poster looks good, but the fight is junky, boring. Yeah.
Ed wants to know thoughts on Vasily Lomachenko, who's fighting in a week or 2,
Wow.
returning after the trying times in Ukraine. Well, Usyk was going through the same thing. All the Ukrainian fighters, who obviously are worried about their country, and I mean, it's how they make their money. So I could not imagine. I mean, even during World War II, a lot of the great fighters were in the service. Joe Louis put his career on hold for like 4 years or whatever while he was in special service, and a lot of the champions did. So I can't imagine. I mean, Vietnam, obviously. I mean, I don't remember any Asian, and certainly any Vietnamese fighters that might have been impacted by the Vietnam War. Obviously, Ali, with the draft and everything, was impacted by the Vietnam War. But it's. I mean, that's the thing. I can't imagine with that on your mind to have to worry about that along with your career.
Yeah, it's hard to focus. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. On that sad note, maybe we should wrap up.
Well, the World Series starting Friday. I'm looking forward to that.
Who you liking, Artie?
I want the Phillies to win.
So do I.
Just because I want the Astros to lose. That's why.
Right, because we're still mad at the Astros for cheating a couple of years ago.
And plus, they beat the Sox. Like last year, they beat them out of the. They beat them in the playoffs last year, and then this year they just. I don't like Altuve. I just want him to go home, go away. I want all these guys to be done. I admire them because of their skill, and they're a good team. But I still don't want them to win. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna sweep. Possibly, but I think they're going to win. They might lose one game, I think, but I think they're going to take it. But I don't want them to. I want the Phillies because they haven't been there in a while.
Exactly. Oh, I'm with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I wanted I wanted Mariners and Phillies when I first saw it. Like, oh, this is interesting. And then I thought maybe the Padres, but I know the Padres. I watched baseball, and I know the Padres are not well liked by Cubs because they beat them in '84.
Sure.
And so I don't like the Padres because of that. And I always growing up, I never liked Padres or Orioles because they beat the Sox and Cubs. And so I'm like, oh, those guys. But now it's like, I think time went by where I wanted them to win, but now
I feel that way too.
Yeah. And I would have been cool to see Padres Mariners, because it's something you never see. But these guys, Astros again, they were in there like last 3 years or something. The good thing is they never won. And the good thing is, well, they won maybe, but I can't remember. But the good thing I like about it is the Sox beat them when they were in the World Series, and they swept them. They made them cry, so that's cool. But they were different guys. Yeah, they were different guys. As you could tell,
15,
Sox guy.
15 years ago,
Sox win. Where is it?
Sox win, right behind you.
Sox win. That was
Right
special request by Ashok, my friend. So he everything on here he requested. Yeah. But it was cool. Yeah, I'm going to look forward to it because this weekend my wife and daughter are going to visit my son in college, and we have Saturday at Oya Comics in Skokie at our comic shop. We're going to be giving away candy because it's trick or treating
Oh yeah, that's a
in
great.
beautiful
That's great to
downtown
hear.
Skokie.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wear Superman stuff. I got a Superman hat, cape, and a shirt and stuff. So I'm going to be a casual Superman. I'm going to have Superman, but clothes. It's not going to be a costume. Well, it'll
Well,
be
it's
a
like
costume.
it's like year
Yeah.
one Superman that Grant Morrison and
Yeah.
Rags Morales did, where he had the jeans on, like you did
Yeah.
in
52.
Superman.
Yeah.
Superman of Smallville.
Yeah. New
Absolutely, man.
52. Yeah. He had
Yep.
jeans. He's wearing pants and Air Jordans.
Well,
So I'm going to be there giving away candy with the Crone Boys.
and
Maybe we'll
obviously,
record another song.
I'm sure you'll be selling both Bizarre Baltazar Bazaar
Yeah.
and Yags as well.
Yeah. We have a
So,
few at the store because my print run's so low, but I bring a few. But I'll probably bring some more because I had to do the math. Like if I spend, I won't do math, but I got to see how much I spend versus how many I have to sell to break even. So I could spare at least 20 copies. So I already brought 10 and we sold out. I'm going to bring 10 more. So we'll see what happens. But we'll have them at the store. I got them on my website and I'm going to be making more books, man. I'm so excited. And I can't wait to announce all these things. There's always something secret. And it involves people, it involves companies, it involves charities, and but it will allow me to make a lot of books. I'm going to do it if this thing doesn't happen anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. But that's what people get weird about me. Like I have a book agent and I have all these things. So and when I pitch things to publishers and they say no, I'm like, well, good, then I'll just do it myself. And that's kind of like what I've learned at New York Comic Con. The thing that I got was like the vibe I was getting, especially San Diego and New York and C2E2 a little bit, but they were all saying, I got to do this myself. I got to fire my agent. I got to do all these things. Like, I'm not getting work anywhere. So I'm like, yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting. So to do it yourself is so rewarding and you're on your own deadline. And like, I could work all night until I'm drop dead tired. And when it's your own stuff, but when you have a deadline, you're like, okay, I did 3, I could do something else. Like, okay. And then you're not, when I work on a deadline, I'm never,
well, you're
I,
more motivated. I mean,
yeah,
I know from
yeah,
Word Balloon doing the podcast, it is much more fulfilling
yeah,
than any radio job I've ever had, ever.
yeah,
And that's why it means so much to me, my
yeah,
patrons and my sponsors that help me out with Word Balloon. It's greatly appreciated, everybody. And I
yeah,
thank you. And also, Artie, that has been the interesting thing that came out of the pandemic and lockdown is
yeah,
so many people were told by the publishers, pencils down, we can't do
yeah,
this stuff. And it just forced all these people to do their own books, whether it's through Kickstarters
yeah,
or the people that have Substacks now
yeah,
and these other things, Panel Syndicate, Brubaker, Jay Ferber, to name a couple,
yeah,
Ron Wimberly, all these guys and women as well that are just, buddies like Erica Schultz, just doing their
yeah,
own thing and getting, it's like, well, no one's stopping me from doing my passion projects. And thank God there are these other platforms, whether it's crowdfunding or hand selling,
yeah.
that you can do it on your own.
You know what I realized too? It makes people first it gets you mad and angry and disappointed, but then it makes you more powerful, but it makes you talk to all the other creators. So you're sharing ideas and now you're like in it. Like everyone's on the same. We're all in it together.
Yes.
It's like all right, we all know what we all understand what each other's trying to do. And when I was talking to a lot of publishers in New York, and they come to my table to meet me. And usually now it's cool because they could text you and messages. You know where everyone is, and I'll say stop at my table here. But they all see all the books I have, and they're like, and they all said, "Wow, you're doing all these by yourself." I'm like, yeah, this Abraham Linkage came out in April, and ever since last April, I've just been making books, and they were really impressed with that. And if I'm talking to publishers and I'll ask them, hey, remember that thing I pitched you? You guys want that? And then if they, whatever they say, I always say, well, let me know because I want to print it. If you guys don't want it, I'll do it. And then, so I got a lot of like pressure. I put a little pressure on publishers because it's
Good.
not, yeah, it's not like, I'm not like, oh my God, I hope they say yes. Now I'm like, I hope they don't want it. If they don't want it, let me know. Like I want them to want it,
Of
but they
course.
have to be they have to want it. Like a lot of people ask me too, why do you go with paper cuts? And now they're owned by Mad Cave, and
Yes,
they say, well, why are you with them? And I said, because they get me. They want me. Like I send them stuff and they like it. They don't want to change it, or they don't have to like check boxes now. Everything stories and publishers always want to check boxes. Make sure this is in there, make sure this is in there. But now it's not like that anymore. It's like, well, it is, I guess. But with me, it's like I give you this story that's for all ages, and I'm not like Dora the Exploring my comic. Like I don't speak to 4-year-olds. I'm more like a SpongeBob guy, like McGilla Gorilla guy. Like where you're gonna like it, but your mom and dad might like it too. So
absolutely.
so that's kind of how I write, and so I'm really excited about this. And I got a few publishers still working with like Boom Studios, Paper Cuts, maybe I got stuff floating around at Schuster and Random House, but it's all connected to stuff I'm doing. So I just got to see how everything plays out. And I'm pitching a lot of stuff like Hollywood stuff right now, which is still secret stuff, but it's cool, man. And like the Hollywood stuff I'm doing is like my own, partnered with other people, like, but it's still creator owned stuff. So like I said, there's a lot of stoking a lot of fire, spinning plates. I'm spinning a lot of plates. Stoking. I'd like prefer the fires because then you can let it simmer.
I understand. Well, don't forget
Add some paper.
if any of these Hollywood things come through,
Oh yeah.
Skokie Spidey, your son Sonny, and
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
are ready to be characters and everything.
Those are my top ones.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we're all ready with our cartoon voices.
Yeah. I actually want to do a trailer. Oh man, what was I thinking? I forgot what it was, but I was thinking about you being a voice of one of the characters in there. But I
Say
got
the
to
word.
come up with like the little videos I make, but I want like a conversation between.
Oh,
And
sure.
and you know what I'm doing too? I'm buying instruments so I could play them. I got some
Hey,
bongos right now.
that's
Yeah.
what John Fogerty did when he got
Yeah.
screwed by the publisher that, or the label that owned all the CCR, Creedence Clearwater Music.
Oh yeah.
And he learned how to play all these instruments so that when he did center field and started doing his solo stuff,
Oh yeah.
he could rely on himself.
And Taylor Swift's doing that. She's re-recording all of her stuff.
Right, because she got
And
screwed
I
by
love
her.
that.
Yep.
And I listen to her, what she has to say and what Dolly Parton has to say, because Dolly Parton struggled to keep the rights for her music.
Yes.
And we just watched that movie 9 to 5 over the
That's a
weekend. I
great
sat
movie.
on my new couch, on my nice leather couch, and
That movie, by the way, that
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
42 years old.
is it really?
1980.
I remember my aunts coming over to watch it with my mom, and they had a party they watched 9 to 5, then they watched Steel Magnolias.
Sure.
And
Oh my God, it's a full
an
metal
urban-
dolly.
Yeah, an urban cowboy.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I
Look
think
at
you're
the
gonna
way he
say
dances.
they're gonna say Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. 'Cause
No,
that's
never
really
that
funny.
one. No, but I
Yeah.
remember, I remember Steel Magnolias. I had to leave the room sometimes. But
Oh yeah.
but 9 to 5 was cool because they would all
Funny.
yell at the
Oh my God.
boss. Yeah,
The fact that Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda got back together for that Netflix
Yeah.
show, Grace and Frankie, it's like, no, they're funny together. And it's
Yeah.
so great that they're, in their 80s or whatever and still doing it and really, really funny.
yeah,
So, I mean, Lily Tomlin, she's a genius. And that was a great way to show that beyond singing, that Dolly could be charming on camera and
Yeah.
just be funny.
that might have been her first movie, right?
I think it was.
And-
I'm
and-
reasonably certain it was.
Because what I saw a documentary or life story, and she said when they asked her to be in a movie, she said she'll only do it if she could sing the lead song. And then they said, yeah, and that's what she was smart. See,
Oh, yeah.
it's like I really admire her. Yeah.
I don't know if you watched the Orville that Seth MacFarlane.
Oh yeah.
It's a parody of Star Trek, but they had a race of alien women, and they heard 9 to 5, and they're like, "This is a war anthem," because they're all female warriors. And in fact, like they had to plead their case to like you see in Phantom Menace or on Star Trek, like a Federation,
Yeah.
kind of interplanetary council. And she's like, to quote the great Dolly Parton, "I swear sometimes that man is out to get me."
Yeah, that's right.
And Seth MacFarlane's like, all right, she gets it.
Yeah.
And in the final season, I know I'm spoiling for people who haven't seen the final season, they have a hologram where you could meet famous people or whatever. And this woman comes back and she has this great inspirational conversation with Dolly Parton. And it's Dolly Parton playing herself now.
Oh,
And
is she in it?
oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
cool.
And it was like, you see, that's why Dolly Parton is cool.
Yeah,
Because
she's
she
awesome.
gets all this stuff. And she's, no, I honestly, I'm not a big fan, I'll admit, of a lot of her songs because I'm not a big country fan, but I
Yeah.
do appreciate her songwriting
Yeah.
and the person that she is. And she is a tough lady, and God bless her for being there and being a true inspiration for what she does creatively.
Yeah.
She's
And I
amazing.
remember her saying she didn't want to give a song to Elvis because then it would be his song. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's great.
Well, it wasn't Elvis, it was the Colonel.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, they
It
wanted
was
him to
well,
sing
yeah,
it,
the
though.
Colonel kind of controlled it, and it's like Mac Davis said the same
Yeah.
thing. I heard an interview with him, and he said, "Yeah, the only way that and he goes, I was really flattered that Elvis wanted it, but then the Colonel's like, well, then we buy it and we own it," and they're like, they're
Nah.
not stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not stupid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
henceforth, self-publishing. Do it yourself.
indeed.
Yeah.
Well, and everybody really, again, I agree. Skoke loves the Orville.
Yeah,
Thank
I gotta
you,
watch
Skoke.
it.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. I like it. I like it a lot.
Normally, I said I'm never gonna watch it, but I'm gonna watch that one.
No, you should watch that one. It's good. Well, anyway, Bizarre, Baltazar, Bizarre, and Yags.
Yeah.
Available. Follow him when you see him, but
Yeah.
when you see him, you'll be able to buy things like that, and more to come as far as creator-owned stuff.
Yeah, I got
from,
a lot
from Arthur.
waiting to go. I'm gonna try to launch more things in January. Maybe probably before then, but
Okay.
I got a lot of stuff. But January is where I want to hit it, and we'll see if I could keep it going every month, and we'll see.
That'd be
Working with
great, Artie.
people. I got to put fires under people, but I'm gonna do it myself anyway.
Well,
But
we're
yeah,
all
it's gonna
proud
be
of you.
fun, man.
Well,
Thanks,
excellent.
brother.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man. And
Yeah, man.
again, everybody, buy Artie's books at electricmilkcomics.com. Thanks
Mhm.
a lot for watching. That'll probably do it for this week on Word Balloon Live, but next week, a whole new slate of shows. I hope you'll join me. Until then, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.